All right, joining me now is one of the newest members of the UFC flyweight roster who already has a win in his pocket. Josh Van coming off the big win at UFC Jacksonville last weekend. Josh, man, how you doing? Obviously coming off of a pretty exciting weekend for you and your career.
Man, I feel amazing. You know what I'm saying? Getting my first victory in the UFC, it just feel amazing, man.
Yeah, and I guess just we've talked a little bit during our on the doorstep series, kind of a shameless plug. If people haven't checked it out, definitely check it out
Mm.
on MMA Junkie, all about prospects. But I did want to kind of talk to you more about your story because you did get to speak to the media a little bit afterwards. But I felt like there were some questions that people on our side of the aisle should have asked you and they didn't, and that's about kind of your journey to get there and what it meant to you. So I guess first things first. You became on Saturday the first fighter from Myanmar to step inside the cage, and on top of that, to win. I mean, we saw on our YouTube channel you got the most amount of views out of everybody on the card. All the comments were the Myanmar flag, people repping you. So, I guess talk to me about what it meant for you to represent that flag and have that accomplishment as well.
Man, it meant a lot of things for me. You know what I'm saying? It meant everything for me. To be able to represent my country in the biggest state. The biggest state. So it was just feel amazing, man. And the only thing was, I can't have my flag in there, man. If it- if I was able to have like the Myanmar flag in there, man, that would be amazing. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only thing that was going on.
Yeah. Did they have a fight kit that was country oriented or no?
Yes. So
Yeah.
we
So
have to wear. Yes, sir.
you were able to get that. Talk to me a little bit for people that don't know. I know we had talked for our other interviews about your upbringing. You were born there, correct? And then uh, you were, I think, 10 when you moved. So you got to process a little bit of what life was like there for you. I guess what was it like for you there?
Man, it was amazing, man. My memory from Myanmar is that uh, I moved there. I lived there until I was 7 or 8, and then I moved to Malaysia, and then Malaysia from there, and then I came here. So every memory I have over there was amazing, man. Everybody loved everybody. Everybody supported everybody respectfully. Everybody was respectful, things like that. So it was amazing, man.
Yeah, and I know people here, we see it on the news sometimes. I think maybe people in the US are kind of not selfish, but we focus on the news here and we don't necessarily look at as much globally. But for you, I guess was your decision, your family's decision to move at that time, was it kind of based on the political climate there? Was it just trying to, move somewhere where you thought you'd have better opportunity? Kind of, do you know why your family decided to move?
The military in Myanmar is always bad. You know what I'm saying? So just recently, it got worse. And at that time, my parents were, they were looking for better education, better job, things like that. So, you know, uh, like they were just thinking about us, as the kids. So they want to come over here looking for bigger education and then freedom, I guess.
Yeah. And was it when you moved to Malaysia, I'm assuming you have siblings?
Ah, yes, I have five siblings. Yes,
So
four.
you got four siblings, so you're one of five, and it was you five, and then your mom and dad. Is that who ended up moving?
Yes. So our whole family moved at the same time.
Yeah,
So, no, my dad first, and then everybody. Yes.
yeah, gotcha. And as a kid, like, was that something that you remember like processing? Like, did you really understand what was going on? Were you disappointed to have to leave your friends, or were you not old enough to kind of get a
Yes.
sense of what was going on?
Yes. For sure. Growing up, we was only like 6 or 7, so at that time, and my parents have to explain to us what was going on, stuff like that. And and then as we grow a little older, like we start to understand the political of what happened in there.
And so, how long did you live in Malaysia for before you came here to the U.S.?
I live 3 years.
3 years. So you were probably like 13, 14 when you moved to the States?
Yeah, I was 12, about to turn 13. So yes.
Gotcha. And what was that like? Because obviously, I'm sure that's a big culture gap. I'm sure maybe there was some language barriers as well. Was it difficult to kind of, as a 13, 12, 13-year-old kid, to assimilate into American society?
Yeah, I remember when I first got here, man. I kept begging my mom if we can go back to Myanmar. Uh, just because Houston, we don't have a lot of Burmese kids and stuff like that, so I have a hard time speaking English too at that time. So first you got bullies first, and then second, you got picked on, calling names and stuff like that. So a lot of time, man, I beg my mom, why don't we just go back to our own country type shit, and then as I grow older, I learned to live with it.
Was that at all spurring your career in fighting? Did that all kind of trigger you? Like if people were giving you a hard time or it was hard to fit in, was that kind of what kicked it off for you?
Yeah, man. That's what it is, man. I was small. I was a small kid, so and coming from where I come from, you get picked on. So like it's kind of like I fight every day, and then it get to the point where I enjoy fighting. You know what I'm saying? So I watch like YouTube clip on like street fight or something like that. How to win street fight, and then I'll try it. I'll try it on my next fight, things like that. So that's what got me into my career.
Yeah, I was going to ask you because I thought that was interesting after the after your win on Saturday. You kind of said, I don't really watch the UFC. I don't watch people in my division. I know who John Jones is, but you guys tell me who the other flyweights are that I can fight. So I was curious, what kind of inspired you to get into? Was there like an aspect besides the bullying, like you enjoyed, movies? Did you enjoy video games that were fighting? Was there any sort of enjoyment outside of you using it for self protection that led you to do it recreationally?
Man, I enjoy watching Bruce Lee a lot, man. I used to have his DVD of all his movies. You know what I'm saying? Like I watched all his movie. Even when I was in Malaysia, like I'll tie my leg up. I would tie my leg with a rope, and then I make my sister pull my leg up so I can kick higher. Things like that. So I watch Bruce Lee movie and do the things that he do and stuff like that. So Bruce Lee was my biggest hero, man, growing up.
Very cool. And I guess since the win on Saturday, I'm sure you've seen and received a lot of messages from the country you were born in and just everywhere you've been along your path. Am I correct on that? And I guess how did that make you feel?
Man, I feel amazing, man, because, after I get that win, like I know, I always knew my country would support me. But then after that win, it was just that a bunch of Burmese fans, showing love, texting me, leaving comment or something like that, and we got a couple of guests coming over to the house and pray for me and stuff like that. So it was amazing, man. And on my first fight, I was fighting a guy that looked like Bruce Lee, so that was amazing.
That's awesome, man. How is like MMA in terms of in Myanmar? Is it like well known, or was this something like when you came to your parents and you said, "Hey, I want to do fighting as a career"? Was that
Mhm.
something that was Ultimate Fighting Championship? Is it like very big over there? Was it something that you kind of had to warm people up and explain to your relatives, or how did that work?
Yeah, man. It's just a lot of people just know this shit because they just start to know it. Back then nobody really know what fighting was. I didn't know what fighting was until I was 17 or 18. But then we got on the two-time champion in one championship. Things like that. So it's big, but it's not big. I don't know if you get what I mean.
Yeah, no, I got you, man. It's getting bigger. Like it's
Yes,
bigger
sir.
than it was, but it's still growing. Do you still have connections back there? Like, do you have family? Do you ever go back there, or has it been kind of since you've got here in the States, like, you're just kind of here?
Yeah, I never. Yeah, I haven't go back. I want to though, but recently, like I said, the military
Mm.
stuff is just getting keep. Is keep getting worse and stuff like that. So, hopefully, it get better so we can go and see my family.
Yeah, and I know it's, maybe unrealistic to think that one athlete can have a huge impact on a country that's has a lot of military happenings, but do you feel like with your platform, maybe you can like spread more awareness about what's going on over there and kind of try to shed light on maybe some of the positive things that are happening as well?
Yes, that's my goal. This platform that I have right now is. I feel like the UFC is the biggest platform you can have. So it's like I want the world to see what really going on. The military they be cutting off our internet and stuff like that. So it's hard for the other world, the other part of the world to know what really going on and stuff like that. So yeah, man, I will use this platform to know to let everybody know what was really going on over there.
Yeah, and on top of that too, I mean, just seeing all the happy comments with the flags and YouTube and stuff. I mean, you kind of providing some source of entertainment and kind of separation from people that might be there, kind of going through some challenging times too, right?
Yes, everybody going through a hard time and stuff like that. So for them to see, our flag in the biggest stage, that's like a lot of motivation for them. So hopefully I can talk to the UFC that I can have my flag in the octagon, man.
Yeah, 100%. I know you, like you said, you're not really following the division or names or whatever, but you said you wanted to become one of the more active fighters on the UFC roster. I guess should we expect to see you back there soon? I had heard some rumors that maybe we were going to see you in a few, not too long, actually.
Let's get it. The sooner the better, man. I'm ready. I want to fight tomorrow, if I can. But yeah, the sooner the better, man.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Well, I appreciate your time, Josh. It's been a pleasure to follow your quick surge up the ladder, and congrats on the first win. I'm sure we'll be talking again in the future.
Hey, thank you, brother. Thank you for having me over here, man.